And that's what you do. You just put different stuff on top of each other and make fun music.
That's amazing, and it's it's like watching somebody paint.
Bebop.
All right, so COVID has done a lot of strange things to various people, and one of the things it did for me was I wanted to start a podcast. And so I went into the process of starting that, and I said I'd love a theme song. And I searched for a bit, for the right vibe, and I found just a tremendous vibe in Kidmental. I watched some of his videos, and it was just happy, and it was amazing to me exactly how he makes music. And he doesn't know how excited I am to be able to have this conversation with him, because we've only known each other through messages. But welcome, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna dip into it because we're outside of my medium. It's a little harder for me to articulate what you do. So give us some verbiage. Show us.
I wish I had my other camera hooked up. I have a looper right here. I can't move it into the camera. It's called a Boss RC505. So it's a loop station. You can loop stuff like that. And a 505 meaning I got 5 channels that I can use, and I can overlay them as many times as I need to. So basically, I kind of start off with a little drum beat. And that's what you do. You just put different stuff on top of each other and make fun music.
That's amazing, and it's like watching somebody paint. So very cool. How did it start for you? Where did that come from? What made you make sounds initially?
My whole life, I always there was something just about beatboxing or banging on walls or desks and making noise with your body, and that always intrigued me. I was I always loved it, but I never like thought that I could do anything further than with that, than being in the lunchroom and banging on the tables. Um, and no, I was not the person. I was not the that person that was over there banging on the tables. Like I would do it, but I would keep it to myself. I was very to myself a lot of times. But when I I did do a lot of hip hop music, a lot of rap, poetry, a lot of stuff like that. All of my brothers are into music. My oldest brother is a musician. He can play the keys, he can play the saxophone, he can play the drums, like anything he picks up. He's just a savant. And then the one under him can sing his butt off, like he can sing just anything. He's worked with a lot of major people. And then the one right below him, like he was really into like words, lexicon, just like raps and battle rap and all that stuff. So I got to like get every piece of everything from all of the different brothers because I was the youngest, and like I picked up everything. And so when I used to make the music for the rapper, and then like I would try to do some. But like recently, I think the last two almost 3 years, I wanted to get back in the scene. And I was here in Pittsburgh, and I was like, I want to do something. But previously I had like problems with bands, trying to like do my own band because perform to I don't want to perform to canned music. I don't want I want it to be organic. I want it to be, right there. I didn't want it to be something planned out and then you start and then it stops, and then if you mess up you can't go back and fix it. I want it to be like if I mess up I can organically fix it and keep moving. And like a band was like the first idea. I was like, band, yes. And then like with 3 kids, a wife, and all the band members, none of them had kids, none of them had any obligations, but they all could not make it to practice. And I would be picking up people. I would drive on the other side of town, pick them up, bring them over, and then the other one says I can't come. And it was always something. And I was just like, man, we performed a couple of places. From Ohio to Pennsylvania. We did all that stuff, and it just doesn't work, and you can't have you know, I guess it's just the evolution of a lot of things because everybody's busy with their own stuff. So when I found out about a looper, I don't have the other one. I usually have the little one, but this guy, he was like, "Hey, uh, you ever use one of these?" And I was like, "No, but I know what it is." And he was like, "I can't get it to work." And he was like, "If you want to get it to work, you could try it." So the first looper I ever had, like most of the stuff that I have is borrowed, none of it's mine. But he gave me that, and I just started messing around with it. And when I went into the scene, I was like, "Now I got some. I have a tool that I can use, and I could bring my band with me, and I am my own band now. And I could start the music when I want to start it, stop the music when I want to stop it. I can, do whatever it is and still keep the crowd involved. And like, I think that's the best way is when you're performing is you want to engage the people you are performing with. So that's kind of why I created what I created and how I created it, because not everybody does that. Yeah, there's a lot of people who beatbox and there's a lot of people who use loopers, but the way that I do it when I perform with people, I try to where I perform for people, I try to involve them. Like either bring them up and show them how to use the looper, and they could loop out with me, or suggest songs and or suggest words. So it's cool. Like I've been doing that on Reddit almost maybe once a week. I've been going on Reddit and doing a session, and I'll have like the words written on the screen. It'll just say suggest a word, and then people come in, and my comment section is just words. That's all it is, because people just want they're like just want me to suggest a word. And sometimes it's jam packed, and it's cool because I'll make a song, and then I'll just put the one word in and then sing the next word, and then like sometimes put them all together, and sometimes just break them up. It's fun. It's pretty fun. So that's kind of how I got into it.
I love that. So I think that's how I got into the visual arts because I played instruments when I was younger, but it was that whole thing where the other people wouldn't keep up, and it just threw me into something where this is my medium, and it threw me into the visual arts. But it's cool that you persisted and found a way around that. Um,
Yeah.
Super cool. How long have you been working like in that format with the looper? Because
With
has it
I'm pretty sure it's only been about 2 years, maybe
really?
less than that.
Huh. And
Yeah,
and when
I
you
didn't.
started to do that, was it like an aha moment or
Um, I can't even remember. I just was happy that I had something that I could express myself with, and I was like,
yeah?
"Yo, like this works." And then I didn't. I actually, because it was weird. I didn't know. Like a lot of my music is not beatbox music. It's like instrumentals either that I put together or that somebody else put together, and it's orchestrated. It's got all this non-organic beats and sounds and everything, and so I'm like, I have to pick a song or two to perform in front of people that I have to create from my mouth. How am I going to do this? And that was one of those weird moments, like, what, how do I do this? Like, how do I get the tempo right? How do I, because every time if you're not used to it, you gotta, like, how's the tempo gonna go? Is it gonna be this? Do you have to have a metronome? Do you have to do this? And I've never done like live music that way, like it was all on me. So in some ways it was like, because it was all on me, I didn't have to worry too much. But then it was all on me, and I was like, well, I better practice and practice and practice and practice. And like these theme songs, I I can't remember which. Okay, yeah, I think I started doing I started doing the scene with the beatbox with the looper, and then I was a delivery driver. So as a delivery driver, I'll make 100 stops a day, and a lot of them were like the same people. I would go to offices too, and I started like thinking like these people kind of affect everything that we don't realize they affect. Like I'm delivering, if I don't deliver this to these people, then these other people that I am about to deliver to can't do their job. And then I just started realizing the 6 degrees of separation and was like, yo, like maybe I should create something where I kind of explain or present to people what other people do and celebrate them at the same time, like trying to celebrate, show people that like there is more to what you're doing, and what you do does affect other people, but we also have to stop and just celebrate each other. Just stop and celebrate each other. So I wanted to make something authentic and different, so I was like, it has to be all beatbox, and I can't do anything other than beatbox. It's going to be all beatbox, and I want to celebrate people. And so I created a website, and I created a form, and I was like, hey, go here and get a free song. It's absolutely free. Just sign up and tell me what you do, a little bit of information about you, what you do, and then boom, I'll make you a song. And it's just been taking off since then.
Here we are. So is it your full time right now, or you're working towards
Which
that?
I'm working towards that. It's been obviously it's been a struggle, but for when I for businesses and stuff, they've been it's been working really well, but not to a point where I can like cut ties with being a delivery driver.
Yeah.
But um also I'm a motion graphics and illustrator, and I do graphic art too. So I'm trying, like, between the graphics, between the music, and between the branding theme songs, I'm trying to like get rid of the driving so I don't have to drive anymore. And
Sure.
it's kind of cool because this week and last week I stayed home from driving, and I've been working on doing visual assets for a nonprofit I that I actually started beatboxing for, like, I think last year. So I was like host of this looping festival type thing here in Pittsburgh, I guess, because I was doing, what was it? I think, oh, because I was in the scene doing stuff, and one of the DJs at one of the scenes I was at, he was like, "You want to do this thing? It's at this place, and we'll just be there, and you could beatbox, and I can DJ." And I was like, "Cool, like why not?" So we started Get Weird Wednesdays, and every other Wednesday, I would go to this place, and we would do that, and then the the guy who was in charge of that venue met this other guy, and the other guy came and he says, you have anybody that could do this? And that's who he introduced me to them. And I've been doing their graphics for, this is the second year I've been doing them for. And I hosted, I don't know, of course you guys probably don't know, but in Pittsburgh, the big event that we have, an arts festival. We have the Pittsburgh Arts, Three Rivers Arts Festival here every year. I don't know how long. I know it was a long time though. Maybe 35 or 60 years. I can't remember. I should remember because I was actually in one of the anniversaries. But it's a big festival here. It's pretty cool. And I actually got to host the event, and the event that the company that I was a part of does a 3-day event, and then the third day is a part of the Three Rivers Festival. So I was like a part of like two different festivals at one time, and it was my first time doing all that stuff, and I was blown away. I was just like, wow, this is so cool. But then I was like, but you guys need to work on your logo. Like, let me work on that. So I did that, and now, like, I'm 2 weeks off of work, working on this year's and next year's stuff. So I'm sort of getting there, trying to get full time, trying.
I ask because part of my wanting to make this is, I want to talk about all aspects of creativity, and part of that's the business part. And so you said you've been doing
Yeah.
the Reddit sessions. Have you played on TikTok at all?
So I had a TikTok for a very long time, and I never used it because I think the tools that they had there before, I couldn't, there was no way that I wanted to interact because that was basically how all of my stuff is. And I couldn't interact, I guess, in some ways. So it's like you have to like either not do what I'm doing, and but then I felt like if I did anything other than what I'm supposed to be doing, then it's going to like take away from what I actually do. So like I did do some little puppet stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," but then I took it down. And I'm just trying to, like, you got to work on your brand and try to work on like how people are perceiving you, and what they are, when they see you, what are you representing. And so that was a hard thing for TikTok. And I did do something because I had made a track, and I was like, ooh, if I could like get a little challenge going on where like I like they do a response to my track, side by side. And but then like at that time it was just like motions to a track, like everything else was muted. So like it was kind of like it just didn't work. So no TikTok yet. Reddit, yes. And I'm like trying to get people over on Patreon. So like, if you go on Patreon, because I do the theme songs every week, once every Thursday, but I can't do everybody's theme song every Thursday, well, on Thursday that day. So like on Patreon, I try to like say, hey, I'll start doing your theme song today, if you sign up as Patreon Plus, you get all the instrumentals to all the beats and or all the songs, and I give a cassette. I make a cassette tape, an actual cassette tape out. So that's only if you stay long enough, because it's just really tricky. So the business side of Patreon is one thing. The business side of Fiverr is a whole different monster. And then Reddit, and then trying to spread the news through LinkedIn and what is it, Twitter, Instagram. It's a full that in itself. Every Thursday is a full time everything, because I have to make sure to make the song, but then I have to make sure all of the wording for each different social media thing is set up right for YouTube. It's a crap load of work, and people are like, they don't understand the work that you put into it. Like, it's a part of, I guess that's the social media monsters, because like people look at those stars and they're like, oh, I could do that, and you're like, yeah, but are you gonna put the work in? Are you gonna, it's not just you open up your phone and just do it. You have to have a plan. You have to have a brand. You have to do the business model. If you don't do the business model, you're not going to get anywhere. And they don't realize it. So, yeah, it's a lot of work.
Well, yeah, and I'm empathizing because, for me, it's putting out the visual artwork. And yeah, I do Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I follow you on Instagram, TikTok,
Oh,
and
you do?
yeah. Well, here's the thing
It's,
with
it's
all of these formats, they have a use, and each one is a different language. TikTok is its
yes.
own,
Yeah.
and but I
Yep.
think I think you lend yourself to it because what I'm hearing, and you can correct me, but I feel like it almost sounds like you're making a like productions like every Thursday for the different formats. Whereas if you just documented some what you're working, visually figured that out, it'd be so interesting because you're extremely intriguing. I was drawn instantly, and just amplifying that, I think you'd get everything you wanted in no time because I mean it is that
Yeah.
strong, and like when you did and so if people, I'll reiterate that Kidmental did the theme song for that intros this podcast, and it was just amazing because I gave him a few words, some links, and I'm not sure what your process is, but you just shot it right back to me. And I think I had a suggestion, and then I felt stupid because I'm like, he knows what he's doing, and it's beautiful. I love it. My little
No, it's all
girls
right.
go
It
around the
was,
house singing it like the Bebop song.
yeah.
So
I love that song.
yeah, um, but yeah, I'm just always curious, like, and obviously we're different mediums, but I think as far as marketing,
I
it's all
do
pretty
want to.
similar. Yeah, yeah, well,
I
cool.
do want to get like some cameras in here and edit it. It's just I literally have to do the full time delivery job, and then 3 kids, and then
Yeah,
so it's like, how do I set it up and then edit it, and then still make sure that I have a song on Thursday, and then they still make sure that I like it's so like trying to add that. It's been a struggle, and I'm slowly getting there. It's slowly changing, trying to just it's just I gotta get it in the groove. If I could get it in the groove, then
well, and
boom.
that's yeah, that's all it is. I keep saying it when I first like looked at TikTok, I was just confused. Um, and you can quote me,
Yeah,
but I
exactly.
thought this is one long fart joke, and I'll never get it. But
It definitely, it
so,
definitely was though. You had to.
but I started to look at it, and I was, as far as like myself making content for it, I realize increasingly you always just on any medium, any social media, you have to be yourself pretty completely. And that's what I started doing. So now I'm just starting to build TikTok content, but I pretty
Ooh.
much every night, like after I've done my paint session, I'll show what I worked on, whether it's finished or not. They're like quick. I, I keep them under a minute, but I do all the editing on my phone, and then
Oh, okay, cool.
content. Here and there. I like you. I have 3 kids. Single father, so it's a tough balance, but it's
Yeah.
important, because ever since I started doing that, yeah, I'm seeing more sales, more interest. I get to talk to cool people like you because of that. That, like, just connecting with the
I gotta
world.
I gotta get on TikTok
Yeah,
to
man.
follow you. I gotta follow
The
you on TikTok.
the other part is your vibe, like, it's just pure joy, and that needs to be out there more, and especially that being younger viewers. Yeah, I'm pushing you.
Yeah, it's a thank you. I want I mean I really want to. I really do. It is it's I don't know how to explain it. Um but if you ever hear that interview with Michael Jackson um where he's I know I've never seen the visual. I've always heard it though. And it was about it was I guess it was a interviewer, and the interviewer, I don't remember what they asked him, but the point of what Michael was saying was he was saying everywhere else in the world he's got a song that is like, say, we are the world. That's a very positive song, right? And all over the world it's topping the Billboard charts. But when you look back and where he's from America, and it's not there because I guess like his point was saying, where is America's mind? Where is America's mind? Because if these songs that are positive and they're pushing positivity, and all over the world they're topping the Billboard charts, one after another, but here in America, it's not. Think about it. Where is that mind? Where is America if this is what's happening? So that's kind of where I am, because I'm aware that this does exist, and I'm aware that it happened. Like when I'm in Reddit, like a lot of people love the positivity, but then there's like um to every one person that likes it, there's like 3 or 4 people who are against it for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it's just that you have that, and you, of course, when it happens, you can't just let it, overtake you. But now it just keeps me thinking, like, so what what is it? How do we push the happiness? How do we push this positivity in this direction in our own country? Like, how
Yeah.
does that work? How can we? But the only way you can is just to continue to do you. But it's it's really hard. It's like if I were doing like a lot of other music, I really think that here I could be taken differently. But that's not what I want. I mean, I feel as though people need that positivity because we're surrounded by too much negative everything. Where every time you open up your phone, every time you turn on the news, and like, how do you get away from it? And so that's why I kind of try to do what I do, and that's kind of why I keep my mind blinded to a lot of that stuff, because it's like it's not helping me. I mean, just because it's news doesn't necessarily mean it's necessary.
It's important to work through it because the negativity, especially reacting to what you do, that like floors me. But anyway, um, that's just somebody who's hurting in their own life,
Yeah.
and in a way, even though it's just maybe like they're trying to get attention, and that's
That's
okay.
possible.
Like because I mean, any of us that express ourselves for a living, or it's what we do, it's our thing, are vulnerable to that. That's the
Hmm.
hardest thing of any of us, putting ourselves out there. And I've certainly come across it in my life, but I always think of that, why would somebody do something like that? And there must be something going on in their lives that I'm not privy to, but I can't let
Yeah,
it bring me down. I create for similar reasons that you create. It makes me happy,
yeah,
and I feel privileged to have that joy. And really, one of the large things that drives me is when somebody says that they did something because something that I made, that I created, that I said, that I expressed. And yeah, but I do see your point, like that concern, but um
yeah.
it's something to be conscious of. But kid mental should be loud, and you should be heard, sir. So
Thank you.
um so I mean, you seem, and I'm judging from the music, just watching you on YouTube, on Instagram. I mean, it seems like you're a happy dude. Is that? I mean, we all have our down days, but in general, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, there's nothing to be upset about. There's nothing to be. I don't know. You can always find. I I guess I'm privileged. I guess I'm privileged to the fact that I don't have that much negativity in my life than I know that I could have been. I know I could have been raised in a family where that is just predominantly around. I mean, I think of some of my kids, how they could have had different parents, or a different life, because the people down the street. I mean, it could happen to anybody. So I'm just happy that I'm not, that there's no I don't know, there's no struggle that causes me to be unbalanced, I guess. And so I'm happy for that. I'm happy to be able to have the opportunity to share my happiness with other people.
yeah. Well, you have gratitude, and that's important. Um, so talk about your process a bit, like I'm especially
Process.
interested in. So you start this, and anytime to this day, anytime
Uh-huh.
I start a painting, um,
Hmm.
I feel silly. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, oh my God, I people pay me for this, but because it's
Yeah.
blank, you know. So what was like
Yeah.
that beginning like for you? Because you say I'm just going to use my
Ah.
voice and organic sounds to make this expression.
That is interesting because um ah, like you remember those days in grade school where like you could just lose yourself with a piece of paper and a pencil, right? Like you remember that. That is when I started doing the celebrate other people. That is that feeling that every time that I'm ready to create is that white piece of paper, and knowing that you can do whatever you want on that piece of paper and not be judged, like, because it's your expression. And that's what when I first started this, that's what it was. And whenever I do a free song, that's, again, that is what it is, because it's like I don't have the pressures of somebody, a corporate, or just somebody who's an entrepreneur saying, here's money, you need to do something that makes sense. So whenever I'm making a free song, it's just that white piece of paper, that pencil. And then like when somebody's like, "Hey, I love what you do." When I like it all the process is so weird. It's different. It like I have to be able to read a person through an email or a message to see how do I approach them, because everybody is different. And I think that's the first part of my process is, who is this person? Who are they? And I think because I've done 130, was it, I think we're at 141 songs now. So it's because I've done 141 different individuals. That is, I guess that's the reason why I approach it that way, because I'm like, who is this type of person? What makes them tick, or what makes them happy? What do they like about what I'm doing? And a lot of times when they just say, "Hey, I just love your work," then you're like, "Oh, great, white piece of paper, pencil." Because they already, if they're you already they're already sold, right? Like you don't have to be like, you don't have to go and you don't have to dig really deep to find something to make them appreciate you, because they already appreciate you. So if they already love what you're doing, now I have that tremendous feeling of love to help to create something for somebody, because now it's like you don't not it's not only just that white piece of paper and that pencil, it's like they love what you're doing, they already. So now I want to push more love into it, and mold it into a direction. And it, with people who love what you do, when you're in there and they're willing to pay for it, I feel it. It's just it's sometimes, I don't know, it's great. But then when it's the other way around, where they just want you to be professional, then that's when I get imposter syndrome. Even though I know that I can do what they need me to do, it's just like this. They, I don't know, because they read different, and they actually, they have a certain thing in mind. It's like, yeah, they like what you do, but they're paying you money and they want a specific thing. And so now you're like, okay, so am I good enough? Like, but the more they talk to you, they just like, yeah, I just want it to be here than there. And I'm like, as an artist, to like, it's two different things. When you get paid for it, that piece of paper is not really as white as you want it to be. Sometimes that piece of paper is already blotted with black part filled in, and you can't go outside of that. No matter how much you draw in that black part, it will never show up. And that's your freedom. You want to be free and draw in those parts, but you have to make that decision to say, if you don't follow the white parts that they're leaving open for you, then you're not going to have a job. You need to follow what they need you to do, and just create and do the best at what you know what to do. So that's my process.
Well, that sounds a lot like taking commissions.
Hmm.
Now, that's weird because I produce daily. I make art every
Hmm.
day of my life. That's my discipline. And so I do that to build up inventory. And so it is weird when somebody comes to me and, like you said, your paper is compromised. And I increasingly say no to those jobs. I, I'm pretty much, I'll do, if somebody wants a likeness, like pop art, or
Yeah.
like I did a Ruth Bader Ginsburg the other day, and I feel that I'll do it, and I
Yeah,
don't
because you
feel
feel it. Yeah.
I have the same. Even sometimes it's not something I like, but it is pop culture. if there is an element that I love about it, but the
Hmm.
commissions that I've had trouble with are where I think maybe they liked the person, but truly didn't like the work because they're trying to get me to do
What?
something I don't do. I don't,
Yeah.
that's just not my style, and you're never going to be happy with it. And so what I had to learn to do is to think about
Say
the
no.
proposal and learn to say no, because it's we do what we do to do what we want, really.
Yeah.
You didn't become kidmental to be told what to do. It, like what you do is, it's very free, and it's
Yeah.
awesome, and it's important to keep that integrity. So
In,
yeah, I
indeed.
feel what you're
Indeed.
saying in that capacity. But before we started recording, we were talking about you recorded your own it's not a CD anymore, is it? But your own project,
Oh.
like
Oh
3 tracks,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just streaming. I think it's available everywhere on stream. It's hard to say because it's it's the Greek word is kyklos. And so, but it's spelled and it's but I think Alexa says kuklos. It's spelled Kyklos. And it's a concept. Oh, she's talking back to me. Thanks. Thank you. I shouldn't have said her name. ALEQ. I mean, what, XA. Yeah. Um, she. It's a
Oh,
it's a
Alexa was
concept
talking
album.
back
It's
to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Alexa,
funny.
Alexa. There's a it's a concept album. Kyklos means um okay, so it's Greek and it is the root word to like cyclops, circle, because it means it means circle, but it doesn't mean circle. But yeah, it's a what's the other word for it? Cycle. That's the more better word term to use to describe Kyklos. It's cycle because and it breaks down. There's 3 songs, and it's the cycle. If you ever see Kyklos, most of the time, most I can't say, is it philosophers or political philosophers? Basically, the Kyklos of the system, the governing system, where the rise and the fall, and then the people and yada yada yada. That's the Kyklos. That's the cycle. So it goes. The whole album basically talks about the cycle that that I've been dealing with ever since I was born, and it's been around ever since before I was born. Um, the blacks in America, and not just the blacks in America, because I also cover like gun reform and freedoms, liberties, and things like that. So, like the album is a forever cycle. The first song is called Key Close, and that's when that one like I haven't talked about this in a while, so I'm trying to remember everything. Um, but it is it talks about the beginning of this country and what was considered politically correct back then, that people now look back and say, wow, that was crazy. And I'm like, yeah, and you still think a lot of things are politically correct, and you're missing the whole point of where humans and how we are equal and how things should be. And then the second song is called Kaepernick Callin', and it's just talking about police brutality. And then the last one is called Kings of Babylon. So each of the songs, there's three songs, and all of them start with K. Like there's a lot of concept in this album that and a lot of meaning. I have meanings for everything, and it's cool. So this last one was sort of a liberation type of song, and the I think the first one was of an oppression. It's like oppression, and then the second one was dealing with that oppression. So it's that oppression, dealing with the oppression, and then the liberty from that oppression. But because we go in steps, we don't fully become liberated. We only become partially liberated. And so once you're partially liberated, then you go back to the oppression and then the dealing with this new oppression and then liberating from that new oppression and then it starts over again. So yeah, it's a cycle. And that's why I named each song what I named it. And there was a lot of symbolism and a lot of different things, but it was pretty cool because I've always wanted to talk on this, but I've most of my music is not political. And as you see, that a lot of times that I'm dealing with a lot of things that I do when I'm doing theme songs and all that stuff, I try to keep it very positive because that's just that's just I mean, I don't want to deal with the gritty political debates because it always ends in some darkness in some way. So I just felt that it was the time. It was a couple. I was supposed to release it a couple of years ago, but then like I've been waiting and waiting on the mixer, the engineer, and the other people that were involved. And I'm waiting, and like I couldn't get anything. And then finally, like this stuff started happening, and these riots. And then I'm like, wow, that's crazy. We should get this done. And I call the guy, and he's like, yeah, I got it done. So he sends that to me, and then I finish it up, and I'm like, well, great. It actually came out on time, sort of. And yeah, it deals with everything that's going on in 2020. So I released it in 2020. So hey, it's pretty cool. It's a interesting album.
I'll have to give that a listen. And we talked about putting a track at the end of this. If people want to hang out and check it out. So, um,
Yeah.
are you working on? So those were three tracks. So how are you working on those?
Yes.
Did you sit down and work on all three, or is it something like over time you just kept picking at?
So Kings of Babylon was done 10 years ago, and
Okay.
um, we were supposed to continue on Kings of Babylon, uh, but the producer he is the producer like I think it was supposed to be a Jamaican hip hop reggae type hip hop song album, and it was called Strong Mind, but I released it as Kings of Babylon. But Kings of Babylon was 10 years ago, and I had a whole bunch of like Nas type verses, Nas type like just feeling in the flow, and then like my homie was singing like the hooks, and we were gonna go back and forth. Like maybe I would sing a hook and he would do a hook, and like we were gonna do this hip hop reggae album, and it never happened because when you deal with people, that's what that's what happens. That's why I loop. So
Yeah.
he he that's what happened 10 years ago, and then that same producer, he showed me this beat probably not too long after that, and then I never wanted to do anything with it. And then he asked me because he was on hard times or something, so I had his hard drive and I had all of his beats, and he was like, "Can you send me this one beat?" And I'm like, "All right, let me go through his hard drive, find this beat." So I find like I think he had three beats I needed to render out. So I was rendering out the beats and I was listening to him, and I was like, "Hold up, yo, this song right here." I'm like, man. So, and I guess it's because of everything that's been going on. and politically, I just was like, man, like I really need to talk about everything that's going on right now. And it was crazy because the sample that he used was like a African, it was like a African beat dance type music, and it was like a tribal type like song. And the only thing that I hated, and I guess I have a regret, was that I did not find out the translation, and that was the only regret that I had, because I hate it when people release things with a sample and they didn't even try to find out what it means, and then later on they realize what it means, and I'm like, you idiot, that's why you shouldn't have used it. But I felt that no matter what it said, I think it would still fit. And so I talked to a lot of African friends, and I say, yo, like, could you? And the way that they kind of said that it could be what it might be, that it really wouldn't matter. So that was kind of a not a regret, but then it was still like I still don't know what they said, and but it just hit deep because it felt like it was coming from the motherland, you know. So I was just like, yo, like this is the epitome of everything that I'm trying to say. And then the um the last song I actually started last, I think it was last year. There was this other producer who had like they were doing a discount or something, and I was like, I like their beats. I don't usually, because I make my own tracks, and I could get tracks for free whenever I want and whenever I need. But I was like, I like this person. I like their attitude. I like their positivity. I love everything about them. So I was like, I really want to support them in some way. And when they sent me the beat, I was like, cool, like this, like they made it directly for me, and I was like, all right, well, cool. And the rest is history. The rest is this album. So it was interesting. Like I have songs from 20 years ago that I want to do, but I can't. It's just you don't have the resources, or you don't have the right things, and I don't know. It doesn't work out the way you want it to work out. It's not like you know, you're working full time at a studio where you got that time and you got the resources. So I got 2 albums I'm trying to work on right now. I've literally have 4 albums that I've been trying to work on for the past who knows when, but because I was trying to work with other people and they slacked on it, then I can't continue. And it sucks because I'm the person that came up with the ideas. I'm the person that came up with like everything about it. But the one little thing that makes this what it is that other person, is because you just need that energy from that other person. And either I need to find somebody to match that energy, which is not really easy, because if you're dealing with one person and they're like that, how many times are you going to find somebody that actually wants to do what they set out to do, they're like unless they're like you or they're like me, where we're set in our mind and we're like, we want to create, and we're going to continue to create, and no matter what happens, we're not going to stop creating. But when you're collaborating with other people, like, what can you do? You can only go so far. So
I've learned you just have to take that as it is. Most collaborations come to an end. It's just a natural part of it. And sometimes they don't even get started.
true.
But
I'm
hey
so
man,
mad though, because these
yeah,
are dope.
yeah. Well, you don't know what happens going ahead, so
Yeah.
maybe something will change and we'll get to see those come to fruition. Um, I want to thank you
Hopefully.
again for coming to talk to me. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Like I said,
Thanks for
I'm
having me.
so excited. Like I remember I initially asked you before I even had episodes. I'm like, I need to get a few done so I don't look like a complete doofus.
Oh.
I started out with my friends, and but man, tremendous. I hope you'll come back. Can you tell people how they get in touch with you? Like, what's the best way?
You can just go to kidmental.com, kidmental.com. It has everything, and like you can get to my Instagram, you can get to my Facebook, you can get to my Twitter. If you do go to Twitter, it's just kidmental. If you go to Instagram, it's kidmentalmusic. If you go to Facebook, it's kidmentalmusic. I'm on Reddit as My Job Theme Song, all one word. Yeah,
is your TikTok still active?
That's it. Or go. My TikTok is still there. It is. I think it is kidmental, and yeah, like, and I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/kidmental, and Fiverr and Kidmental if you want to hire me.
That's how I found you.
Fiverr with 2 R's, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, we're out of here.
Thank you very much.
Bebop. If it doesn't pose a threat to your integrity, don't stress it. Something so trivial could affect you. The naked stroke. Born from a nation where the forefathers wouldn't second guess it. In the name of the Holy Father, Son, tied up and blessed. Form a rope into a noose and check the patriotic message. When folks are calling pride to string me up by the neck end, calling common decency to strip me down naked and watch me swing from the break. Stop and take a picture. Force trauma through the tape and pass it on to Netflix. Check the pretense, they proceed to pass what's what's in. It's where I came from, so I don't need to stress it. That's what they tell me when they appropriate my ethnic. Authenticity is treason if we embrace it. But when they steal it ain't considered ghetto, it's a day trend. Keep close. Instead on my nigga. You could be the chief, but you still be a nigga. I ain't pointing fingers, but they bees on the trigger. Ain't calling out names, just pulling back the finger. Hey nigga, come on and play, yeah. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. I come from a place where they aiming at you. Ain't trying to hang you up, they just bang with the tool. And everybody trying to get their face on the tube, but instead you end up getting your brains on the news. You blind from the limits of systematic hatred. Now put a lion in the cage and only give him basics. Not enough for hunger, but soon the chains will break it. When he bites back, tell me that's just in his nature. Set me free to say, set me on the chain. Bitch that been dummy trying to tell me that she changed. Ain't about the cards, it's the way that you play. If it's all same, let me put you on game. Chicken fried chicken duck, welcome to the project. Real estate hand-me-downs, put that on your conscience. Think it's all good, so they repeat the process. Here you out claiming back just to build a concept. Here nigga, you could be the chief, but you still be a nigga. I ain't pointing fingers, but they bees on the trigger. Ain't calling out names, just pulling back the finger. Hey nigga, come on and play, yeah. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. Sticks and stones, but money ain't a thing. These guns ain't a problem, just the people that possess them. And we add to the problem with these semi-auto weapons. Think we can fix the problem with these idiotic methods? We done dug so deep we can't alleviate the pressure. Speak about a death wish. Your school ain't a school that's a shadow by the next semester. A child's recollection. Recollecting memories, triggering post-traumatic stress. That gun talk, but paraphrase perpetuates no response to the answer to the question that it makes. It's funny that you hesitate. If the question aimed at you, would you stand free or would it resonate? Put your feet in the shoes of any victim that you choose. Would you stand by and let your fear turn into courage? Or would you stand there and pretend that this ain't reality and hope it disappears? Yeah, nigga, you could be the chief, but you still be a nigga. I ain't pointing fingers, but they bees on the trigger. Ain't calling out names, just pulling back the finger. Hey nigga, come on and play, yeah.